Call our meeting to order. Do we have an invitation tonight?
Yeah. Father, we pause and we thank you for all that you are, and we rest in the provision that you've already provided. Thank you for the privilege of doing business together today as a city. Pray for your blessing on every leader. Thank you for all they do for us. Pray for increase in wisdom and knowledge in each of us to do better with your will, to bring glory to your name. And we ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any changes to the agenda tonight?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. There's been a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Is there any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Public comments. This is a time where citizens are encouraged to speak publicly. We request that you come to the podium and state your name and address, speak respectfully, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Are there any public comments? Okay. Moving on then to proclamations, recognitions, and presentations. Cloud Village budget request.
Hello. So I'm just here to request $7,200 for the Cloud Village apartments, and that's the same as we've requested in years past. We just use that money to supplement our existing budget just to maintain the property. And then a little update on what's going on with Cloud Village. Our original 50-year loan is set to mature in 2028. But if we pay off our loan, then we are not eligible for the rental assistance program. So therefore, it makes it difficult to remain low income. So we had the option to re-amortize the existing balance on our loan. And so we just finished that paperwork with Rural Development. And our balance was $40,174. And we refinanced that for another 20 years at a 5% interest rate, which we were paying 8.75. So then this guarantees we can stay low income for another 20 years. So that loan will expire in 2046.
Can you tell us what your occupancy is? It at 100%?
Yes.
And what's your wait list?
And we have probably 6 for a 1-bedroom and 2 couples for the 2 bedrooms. Questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Now move on to the Cloud Court budget request.
Good evening. Thanks for making some time for us. I provided quite a bit of information in the information packet here. Happy to run through anything that you'd like some clarifications or have any questions about. Our funding request is the same as last year. Last year, the city and county both increased our funding, which was the first funding increase in several years. So we've done had a lot of progress on our budget starting last year. Our budget projections are a little funny right now because we kicked off our donor campaign in early April, and my wife had a medical emergency, so we haven't been able to spend the time on it that we want to, but we think those numbers will improve greatly over the back half of the year. One of our objectives this year was to secure corporate donations, corporate donors. I'm happy to say we have our first 2 in the last 30 days or so, and that is a new level of donor we haven't had in the past. So we hope to be able to build up some more of those kinds of donor relationships. As well as obviously continuing all of our amazing supporters we have around the county. You can see who our board of directors are here. We always have a little turnover year to year, particularly as organizational leadership changes that are part of our Cloud Court team. I did include some of the what I would call key accomplishments of 2025. You can see the number of development agreements that we were able to secure last year. 7 of those for a combined investment of a little over $7 million. I feel really good about that, and hope we can continue to build on that moving forward. You can read through some of the accomplishments that we were able to achieve last year, and it's how those accomplishments play into the objectives we have going forward. One of the things that I always spend time at the beginning of the year thinking through and talking with our board and our executive committee about is what we call our North Star objectives, of the things that we think should be our priority for the coming year. I think I shared this with you before it was officially adopted by our board. We can look through there. We've kind of put Cloud 8 and Corey, really what we see as our priority 1 and 2 projects, on hold the last few months, but just this week in both of those areas we've had some exciting things. So we expect those to really take off here over the next 30 to 60 days. You can also see through our priorities are really top priority economic development. Housing is up there as well, which we'll hear about some of that tonight. Then get in the cloud grant program. We expect some really strong applications this year, and a large number of them. I do want to just say a quick point about some of the incentives, specifically our workforce relocation incentives that are offered through Dane G. Hansen. We were the #1 county in 2025 for issuing those awards. We had to spend it to get more money this year, so we took that as a challenge. I feel like we've done a good job of getting that information out to our key employers in the county. And I think between the Dane G. Hansen Workforce Relocation Funds, and for a short period, Dane G. Hansen sponsored our participation in a program called Make My Move. I think it's only about 3 months. We're able to access about $25,000 for people moving into Cloud County, from most of them, I think, outside the state. So in all, it was over $75,000 that was distributed to new employees moving into Cloud County. So really happy about that. We do have funding that was renewed for 2026, so we'll continue to work with our employers to get high quality candidates and their families. And then finally, commissioners, you have our budget report where we stand today. I just ran through some of that. So at this point, I'm happy to take any questions.
As soon as we have it.
Okay, right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Now on to the Brown Grand Theater budget request and report.
Good evening, City Commissioners and Mayor Hutchinson. My name is Melissa Swinson, and I'm the Executive Director of the Brown Grand Opera House. I'd also like to introduce members from our Board of Directors who are present tonight. We have Janet Pearson, who's a member of the board, and Dr. Julia Gom, who is one of our chairs in the Executive Committee, acting as our Secretary/Treasurer. We are here to share our annual grand review, which will highlight our growth over the last 5 years, and to submit a formal budget request for general operating needs at the Brown Grand. As you can see in the document you received leading up to tonight's meeting, we have had a very busy and very productive 5 years. I want to take a different approach in this year's presentation because I have recently celebrated 5 years as the Executive Director of the theater, and our growth has far exceeded our expectations. To start, our budget has grown 376% in the last 5 years, raising nearly $500,000 this year alone. Every board member is giving financially as well as volunteering over 800 hours as a whole. We have also set up board responsibilities, giving requirements, and have had tremendous growth together as a board. Another milestone we have hit this fiscal year is bringing 10,000 people to the Brown Grand, more than double to other local attractions and doubling Concordia's population in just 1 year. Last year, we brought in 8,000, so seeing a 20% growth in just 1 year has been incredible. Since I started in 2021, the number of events we are doing has also grown by 50%, hosting 62 just this year, not including the dozens of historic tours that we give. As you know, our events range from live music to weddings, from live theater to political events, and so much more. We are starting to consistently hit over 60 events each year, averaging more than one per week. This also includes rentals of the space, which have included ventriloquist Darcy Lynn, gut-filled host Tyrus, comedian William Lee Martin, and many others. We are now averaging 20 rentals each year. How does all of this affect our community? According to Americans for the Arts, the Brown Grand has a nearly $400,000 economic impact in Concordia each year. This is based on our population, shoestring budget, and the number of audience members we see coming through the theater annually. Our local restaurants, hotels, and gas stations are highly trafficked when we have events at the Brown Grand. Many of these local businesses have become season sponsors because they see how many people are visiting, eating, and or spending money at their shops because guests are coming to town for events at the Brown Grand. We are becoming a destination for audience members. To share a few examples, a show in October of last year, Charity Eden, a Taylor Swift tribute artist, sold 207 tickets across 23 cities and 4 different states. In January of this year, Thunderbeard, a ZZ Top tribute band, welcomed 250 people from 36 cities across 2 states. 5 of the cities were from Nebraska. Darcy Lynn, who presented a ventriloquist performance in February, sold out with 534 patrons from 60 different cities and 7 different states. Finally, projects. Since 2020, the city has spent roughly $449,137 on maintenance, utilities, insurance, and envelope expenses, not including the window project we are eager to start later this summer. In addition, since 2020, the Brown Grand has raised over $715,000 for projects like new seats, staircases, dressing rooms, hot water heaters, restoration of the ladies' parlor, second floor restroom renovations, a new projector, and new lights, sound, and cyclorama, not including the funds we are working hardest to raise, general operating. Our capital campaign, giving voice to the past, illuminating the future for the new lighting and sound systems and the cyclorama, raised over $428,000 in approximately 16 months. In addition, we applied for over $258,000 in grant funding that we unfortunately did not receive, and that total does not include the grants we did not receive in full. It was hard work, but it was well worth it, as you will see at upcoming events. The lighting system and the cyclorama are in, and the sound system will come later this summer. So what's on our horizon? We are planning a terrific 2026-2027 season full of live performances for our community to enjoy. We have also started to raise funds for the original Napoleon curtain to be fully restored and returned to the Brown Grand, which will be a $37,500 project. 2027 will mark 60 years since the F2 tornado came through our community, damaging that historic drop curtain from our 1907 history, and it is time to bring that piece of history back home. Just in time for our 120th anniversary coming up September 17th, 2027. If you can imagine, we are doing all of this with only one full-time employee. We would officially like to request a $5,000 general operating gift from the City of Concordia to help our numerous efforts to help Concordia thrive. That's less than $2 a person to help us support our mission to enhance cultural life in North Central Kansas. We would love to see each of you at an upcoming event. If you haven't been to the theater in a while, now is the time to come see, come experience, and come look around for yourself. Come witness the impact we are making right here in our own backyard. Remember, we did just install a new LED lighting system as well as a new cyclorama, and don't forget that new sound system coming later this summer. We want you to see and to hear it all. Finally, we want to thank Amy Lang for her endless support and dedication to helping the arts flourish in North Central Kansas. She is a huge asset to us and to our entire community. Amy is a powerhouse of knowledge and intent listener, and she is always putting our community first. Thank you, Amy. And thank you all for considering enhancing the city's partnership with the Brown Grand Opera House with a gift to support our 2026-2027 general operating expenses. I would be happy to entertain any questions you might have at this time.
I don't think there are. Thank you very much. Okay. With that, we will move into our public hearing. Establishment of the Reinvestment Housing Incentive District 11th Street duplexes. The public hearing is now open. The staff developer will present the project plan and allow for public comments.
So Mayor and Commissioners, this is a continued discussion on a project for the 11th Street duplexes. We have Dennis Hoth on Zoom and Doug Hutchison here in the audience to help answer questions and present the project redevelopment plan. I'm just here to remind you of the steps in this process. This is one of our final steps toward establishing the RHID for this project. Back in May, we set the date for this public hearing, and that was advertised on June 4th by the deadline, both in the Blade and on our website. And the next step is to approve the ordinance, which will formally establish the RHID and approves the plan for redevelopment. So there'll be two documents for you to sign tonight, but one action approves both of those. Following the approval of the ordinance, if you choose to do so, there will be a 30-day protest period. And by statute, if either the school district or Cobb County were to protest it, then it would be void, null and void. It would not go forward. So invite Doug up here for him and Dennis to kind of talk a little bit about the plan and kind of refresh your memories and allow you to ask questions.
Here again. So excited to get the project kicked off. I wanted to Dennis is with us from Phoenix, so it is a little warmer down there than it is here today. But I'd like to I think there's some questions about the RHID, so I'd like to have Dennis go ahead and address those.
Dennis, if you want to get started.
Oh, sure. Well, obviously, Amy's been a great help for us and trying to move this process along. You know, we came to Concordia a year or so ago and looked at the studies and realized that this is a city that we're very interested in. We think it needs additional new housing stock and is verified by the studies. And so we decided to, endeavor into this and spend a lot of time and a lot of money at this point in trying to find, a particular site that we thought would work the best to provide the type of housing that we're putting together. We think the duplex housing situation offers an opportunity to reduce some costs, but yet put together a really fine, good-looking product that is going to be what we think is going to be well received in the community. It'll open housing stock because there'll be some residents that would like to move down in square footage. So we feel like there's going to be a mixture here of older community members that would open up housing stock for other families coming in. And we also think this would be excellent for younger couples and families that are just starting out, teachers, nurses, and so forth. So we think it's going to be a well-rounded community. Obviously, the biggest constraint in housing in rural Kansas and rural America is cost. Construction costs have skyrocketed. We all know this. It's affordable housing is a buzzword throughout the United States and extremely difficult. It's difficult in urban areas, but much more difficult in rural areas because the price points, the market points of what these properties can sell for is much less in rural markets than it is in urban situations. So developers have had difficult time being able to get into rural communities and put these projects together, and thus there's certain incentives that we as developers need to try and get the price points down on these projects to make them feasible and to make it compatible with the actual market. We're committed to this. We're building a project right now in Chanute, 32-unit project, and we ended up getting 5 different incentives in that particular project, all of them which were sorely needed, including RHID, which we'll be discussing today. We're really looking at 2 incentives here, KHITC, which we did apply for, and we're awarded this. Obviously, this is the second incentive, RHID, which it definitely is needed in this project and for us to try and mitigate some of the extra costs that are going to be associated with it and with this and get these prices down to where we think it's going to be marketable. So, you know, our thought here is the RHID is really an earned incentive, meaning that if we don't build these and we don't market them properly, we're not going to earn any incentives for that. We're not going to get any. These incentives are talked about over the possibility of 25 years, but that's really not correct, because obviously the RHAD is approved in 2026. We haven't started to build these projects. So by the time they get onto the tax rolls that we might be able to start receiving these incentives will probably be 2 to 3 years down the road. And then of course, when I say earn, it's earned because we have to build these projects in order to receive any of these incentives. So if we only build a certain amount of them or they slowly come out of the ground, this greatly reduces the potential incentive on this. And so it's definitely an incentive for us to move these projects, get them out of the ground, get them sold, and get people into them. Obviously, the market dictates that. Markets change, they go up, they go down, but we feel like with this RHID, it will help us get this project moving and going so forth forthwith. So anyway, is there any questions specific to the RHID? Anything that I can clarify?
I think something that's relatively new to us is doing the vertical the vertical construction with RHID. We've not encountered that or done that before. Can you talk through, are there other communities in the state that have pursued that vertical construction with RHID that you're aware of?
Yes, actually, I was in Sharon Springs this morning, given the same conversation. So, and we're doing it there also. And we're also getting in Chanute, where they're talking about, I think June. We're using prefab buildings there. Local has a plant there, and they've got vertical there also. So in every program that we walk into, it's one of the first things out of our mouth is that we need that option for down the road. I mean, I would love to tell you that the day that we open the door that they'll sell and move on, but that's not the truth. And, you know, Dane Hansen has actually told us to, you know, we're going to build 3, let's get those sold, do that, do some things like that, which all sounds great, but we're carrying costs on, you know, we're going to have to get all the dirt work done, all the utilities, everything on that, you know, with 22 doors, and we've got 6 that they'll let us start opening now. So we've got a lot of extra costs like that we think that RHID will help us down the road to take care of. And I'd love to, you know, in the same sense, I'd love to tell you that they will all sell, and they're not. I think we'll get close. Tim keeps telling me there's more people coming. He won't tell me who. I don't know if they got any money or not. I'll let you guys tell me. But I think there's an opportunity for it to go. In all reality, on the good side of it, state pushes is what I told you all that from the start. We feel with what's going on here that not only we get ours over a time frame, but there's an opportunity for more to do. But we need the vertical side of it all the way through. It just makes it takes some risk off the table for us. I mean, right now, if I build it and I can't get it sold, I'm going to be up here mowing your yards and doing some things. So this will be where I'm living for a while. So, but I think we're excited about the opportunity. So, and your question about the vertical being used everywhere we're going, it's part of the package.
Can you remind me?
You know, one thing I wanted to point out, Doug, on top of that is the reason the state changed the legislation regarding RHID to allow for vertical was that projects were not getting done with just horizontal. It's just not enough. It's not enough incentive for a developer to go in and take the risk to try and put these projects together without vertical. It just doesn't work. And, we mentioned this, I think in our last meeting, we talked about horizontal and vertical. And I know we've talked with Amy about this from the very beginning. And it's just something we just have to have to try and mitigate the risk that's associated with this. And Doug mentioned that we have to build the whole cul-de-sac. We have to build all 11 lots out, have it all graded, put streets in, put utilities in, even though those vertical buildings are not built on them. So, we have $700,000 or $1 million of risk that we're taking. We're signing on this construction loan with personal guarantees. So if this doesn't happen, there's nobody out there guaranteeing this other than the two gentlemen you see talking with you right now. So we are taking a lot of risk. We've already spent, probably close to $100,000 on this project. We believe in it. We think we can get it done, but there is definitely risk associated with it. And the vertical is an absolute must. We have to have that.
Can you remind me what total investment for you all will be on this project?
I'm.
The total project cost, or is that something we can
We're
discuss?
still working on getting numbers,
Okay,
but it'll be north of, if I throw it out there and then somebody's gonna divide it and go, holy crap. So I'm supposed to have some numbers in the next couple of weeks. Let me,
sure.
whatever I tell you today is a lie.
Okay,
I don't want to lie to you.
I'll just fill in that, we're probably anywhere from 6.5 million to 7. And obviously divide that out, we're well north of 300,000 a unit in cost. Obviously that price is too much, for our market, in Concordia, in our opinion. And that's the reason for these incentives.
Can you explain in just for the general public how the RHID works?
Yes.
How do you recoup your money?
So maybe help me.
Okay.
I mean, I know what I think.
Okay.
So when I say something wrong, just yell at me and we'll do that. So RHID is a mechanism for at the end of the project, once the project duplex, the door sold, that the property tax comes back to us. But don't forget, there's certain eligible costs that you'll have. So it isn't this, next 50 years or something. And once those eligible costs are met, then it's done. And the other thing is, Dennis said 25 years is not right because we've got some time up front. The other thing is that the dollar itself in 25 years, unless you guys got something going on here, property taxes aren't coming down. Maybe. So they'll continue to go up, but that dollar's going down. And so the dollar that we're asking for today isn't the same dollar at the end of this when the costs are being finally paid off.
And it's the increment, just like the TIF district.
So the RHID, this ordinance will establish that boundary, that geographic boundary.
Yeah.
And all the taxing entities will still receive tax dollars on the bare ground that's there right now. So so no taxing entity is losing anything.
Right.
But once the vertical construction happens, the increment that's captured by that, because of that new construction, goes into a bucket of money. And then when these guys request reimbursement for those eligible expenses, then the city cuts them a check for that to reimburse. So they are carrying the cost for that amount. The 25-year clock, as Doug mentioned, begins when this ordinance passes. And so then it's going to take them time, just like it did up at St. Joe, to put in the infrastructure and be prepared to build vertically.
But when money is requested, if $10 is requested and there's only $5 in that bucket, we're not writing a check for $10, it's $5 from the bucket.
Yeah, the way the documents are written, it is what is received goes toward those eligible expenses. And then it can go for up to 25 years or until their costs are paid off, whichever happens first. So the TIF district that you alluded to was commercial. The way that language was written back then was that that district went for 20 years regardless of whether anything was paid off or not. And that's how we were able to save up for future projects. The way the reinvestment housing incentive district statute is, we can't do that anymore. We can only repay what this ordinance says it's for, and that's it. We can't bank it for future projects. So it's actually really good, and that protects our taxpayers and taxing entities in that way. Does that help?
Philosophically, I have some challenges with different incentives, and we could spend a lot of time talking about that, and I'm sure everybody would really enjoy that. But I think where I see this being is that the reality is there's not, what I anticipate or what I'm reading is that there's not an inherent risk to the city with this development. That lot has been what it has been for as long as I've been in Concordia. And so without moving forward with some sort of incentive, even including vertical construction, it would most likely continue to be that, barring any massive influx of independently wealthy developers that are just wanting to develop in rural America, which if they do want to do that, we have other land.
Right. And the other thing, don't forget in this, and I appreciate what you're saying, is we're hoping to bring new people from other communities, other states to this, because you got brand new stock. And with that, the sales tax, hopefully you'll see start rising, Amazon, all the different things you can call, and all of a sudden stuff starts showing. I've not figured it out, but that's okay. But the sales tax is a substantial number in this that some people forget about, because with new stock, another layer of people coming in, it just keeps snowballing.
And for the entirety of the amount of time that that the incentive goes back, or the RHID goes to you guys from the property taxes, you guys would be responsible for the infrastructure until that is paid off, or until the end of the 25 years?
We're talking about the maintaining it privately, building it to public standards, but how you committed to maintain it privately for a period of time.
Yes.
And is that the same timeline or is that just while it's being built?
That was a Dennis and you question. So how, we talked about building it to public standards, but owning it, maintaining it private to your vision line.
Yeah, there is no timeline on the private infrastructure and the private cul-de-sac. We are building it to city specs so that sometime in the future, maybe it's 25 years from now, maybe it's at some point, the city may want to take that over, or they may not. But we're building it to public specs in case the city does want to at some point take that. But there's no timeline to it.
How does that handoff take place?
That is a commission action. We have to bring it to you with an inspection record to say it was built to public standard, and then the request is made to the commission to accept that infrastructure for city maintenance.
But it's not something that we would take unless it's being offered. Correct?
Right.
And we met with everybody to make sure we met specs, the design, make sure the fire truck would turn around. So
tell it someone else. Well, I guess, so then that responsibility for maintenance would move with the organization that's in operation, correct? I mean, if Concordia Partners ends up selling to a different organization, then they take on the responsibility of maintaining that infrastructure. At no point does it then, again, fall to us to take care of until such time as which there's an agreement made in which it's being offered and we accept that.
Right.
And that's outlined in our subdivision regulations, how that takes place.
And since you brought up the prefab being used in Chanute, which makes sense with the plant being located there, is there plans to do a prefab here, or do you guys know your design and price point? I mean, we've talked some about this before, but I don't know if
right
that's
now
changed.
we've not had any conversation about using prefab here. So, I mean, we've had internal conversation, but not, right now, we think we've got it set up where people stick build and go from there.
And you have designs and a projected price point for like sales price yet, or is that gonna be too far in the future to know that right now?
It's in the builder's hands right now. He's coming up with pricing. So hopefully sooner than later, because we'd like to get started.
There's no other questions from commission. We'll move on to any public comments. We ready for that? Okay. Are there any public comments?
They put an alley down off of 9th Street.
Yeah, if you come to the podium and
So I
state
just
your name.
live north of it. So I just wonder if they're gonna put an alley.
I'll let you answer that question. Is there going to be an alley?
I don't, in any of the stuff, I'm not seeing any alleys.
Okay. Are they gonna go from you bought the school property also?
Yes, sir.
Are you gonna run that to 9th Street?
I mean, the alley or the
From-
street that was supposed to have been there.
Well, there's no street there.
Right.
In the commission packet that's posted online, on one of the exhibits in this information, there's a map that shows what's gonna happen. So the plan is to build a new street off of 11th Street North, and it terminates at a cul-de-sac before you get to 9th Street.
Good. Thanks.
Are there any other public comments? Not seeing any further public comments, the public hearing is now closed. We'll move on to our action agenda 2026-3244, establishing a reinvestment housing incentive district, 11th Street duplexes.
I move to approve ordinance 2026-3244.
Second. There's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you for being here tonight.
Is there an opportunity to go ahead and sign the ordinance and the development agreement so that we can get it to, Doug has to sign the development agreement as well. So could we pause and do that real quick?
Yes, we'll take a brief recess. You'll sign documents.
By the way, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your investment in Concordia.
I'm excited.
Oh, right.
Do it now.
You want me to scratch Dennis's name off? Sure.
And then we can get the rest of the signatures here afterward, and we can scan and send it to you. That works.
Thank you all very much. I really appreciate all the cooperation that the city has given us. Amy and Tim have done a great job. Really appreciate their professionalism, the way that they worked with us. It's really been a breath of fresh air, and we don't always run into this in every city. So I just want everybody to know our appreciation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We are ready. We'll move on to the minutes of the June 3rd, 2026 meeting.
I move to approve the minutes of June 3rd, 2026 meeting.
Second. There's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Appropriation ordinance number 11.
There was a repair on here that it was a truck, like a body shop repair. What was that for? It was around $5,000. I didn't highlight it.
That was one of my trucks. The backed up in the trailer jackknifed and ripped the whole side of the truck bed off.
So we did get it reimbursed from insurance minus the truck.
Minus that.
And we just got that check.
And we did safety driver inspection after that.
It happens.
It does happen. I was just curious because it was body, it wasn't a normal repair, so.
Right.
It stood out.
Pretty bad.
Okay, I appreciate that. I move to approve appropriation ordinance number 11.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Airport Advisory Board appointments.
Mayor Commissioners, you have a letter in here from Steve Richard, the chairman of the Airport Advisory Board, recommending approval of Brandon Brundage and Brian Donovan to the Airport Advisory Board. Brian's been on the board for several years and currently serves as our FBO. Brandon will be new to the Airport Advisory Board. As I understand it, he's not a pilot officially, but he does have interest in hobbies of glider flights around the area and is very interested in becoming a part, learning more about the airport. So we're excited to have him as part of the board.
I move to appoint Brian Donovan and Brandon Brundage to the Airport Advisory Board.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Now move on to our manager's report.
I am pleased to report that today we closed on the home at St. Joseph subdivision, so it's been sold, so that's very exciting. We have two of our first 2 spec homes sold up there. We also held preliminary interviews this week for city clerk and anticipate final interviews with 2 candidates next week. So that's progressing along well. I also have a card here to pass around. The Frank Carlson Library is holding their 50-year celebration on Saturday, June 27th at 1 o'clock, and so we're invited to attend that. And I did see the article in the Blade that talked about the new stained glass window being unveiled at that time as well, so that should kind of complete their project there. So thanks for that partnership. That's all I have to share. Happy to answer questions.
Staff reports.
Just want to update everybody on that ordinance. You'll see in your packet for next meeting, the electric bike and electric scooter ordinance that we just got put together. Working through just a little bit on the end of it, but we'll have it ready for you guys for next meeting. We are getting a lot of complaints still, trying to educate who we can and trying, but we are receiving complaints daily, but we're dealing it as they come, so.
What about the side-by-side vehicles? Are you hearing much about underage drivers using those?
Mainly golf carts, but I know we have stopped quite a few of those, and any ones that are underage that doesn't fit the ordinance, we're calling parents and they're coming and getting the rides and educating the parents on, I'll let them drive and all that. So, but yeah, I would say in the last couple of weeks, we probably had 4 different golf carts that we've called parents on, so.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Just let you know that after we finished our Fire 2 class, we had testing. All of our full-timers have passed that. And June 1st, we started right into an inspector class. So that should be done maybe late August, depending on how long testing takes. And hoping to do a driver operator class. The training budget for fires is going to be pretty well spent at that point. So I will have to cool my heels until January 1st on that.
No staff reports. Okay, Mayor, Commissioner, comments, reports. Oh, sorry, Tim, come on up. Come on up.
I just wanted to first off apologize for the lack of nuisances that have not been put out yet. I've got quite a few complaints and whatnot with being gone for a week and for the wedding, and then I had surgery and then new to the role. It's coming, I promise. I'm getting there. But I have some set out now, and it'll be a lot better coming soon. Appreciate it.
Okay, no more staff reports. We'll move on to commissioner reports. Chuck.
I have a list. Do we know anything more about the old Wilson building? Doesn't look like they've done anything since we awarded them money. You know, they were gonna.
Is that,
Reynolds. Yeah, they were gonna change the entrance.
The old library.
Yeah, so, I was in there, I wanna say a month ago, and we did an inspection as far as, what they've demoed and tore some things out. And he's given me a few ideas of what they're gonna do in there, but that's as far as I've been.
Okay, and what about the one we condemned? Have we heard anything?
That one is still in progress. We have not, there's not been much motion there. I know that, the owner has, now retained a lawyer now, and, that's kind of where we're at with that.
The public hearing is set for the 17th of July. correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
And we don't know if an engineer, we don't know that an engineer's been on site yet.
I was curious because I saw people unloading stuff in front of the door.
So that was last Friday. I had John run up with a resident that lives there. They had some they had their daughter's stuff still in there, so we allowed them a couple hours to go and get the rest of that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, because people ask me.
Yeah. Right.
I think that's what it is. That's probably all.
Do we put a timeline on using the funds for that downtown project? Is there a timeline on that? The first project that she asked about, that's our second one.
That's a cloud court program, and if I remember, didn't they have up to a year or something?
Yeah, it's the downtown improvement grant has a 1-year timeline on it. So you have to remind me when that was approved. It was like January, February.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. I mean, well, some months.
I bet it's been 2 months.
Okay.
Probably.
We can go back and look and verify.
Yeah.
So it's still plenty of time. But yeah.
And for the chief of police, do we have any idea how much extra it cost us when the jail was closed? That's something else.
No, I sure don't. I know, I don't think it cost us that much. We were doing everything we could to still do our jobs, but not take them to jail. Is maybe what we call it is long pouring them, is serving them with papers and have them going in front of the court instead of actually taking them to jail. Anything that wasn't really violent. But I don't think, Justin,
No. Through municipal court, we don't do a lot of, we're doing more warrants now because people just don't show up. But oftentimes if they're brought in, there's not much time that they're in the jail. So I don't really think there was much, if any, money that was spent on
Just curious. I'm glad it's open.
Yeah. So are we. Yeah. So back to your question, is we try to long form them. Now we've, since it's back open, we've converted back now. We're arresting them, taking them to and doing the process that way. So.
Thank you.
Okay, last call. Marcia's good. Okay, we will move on then to our executive sessions. Our first is for confidential business data.
I move the city commission recess into executive session to discuss confidential business data or trade secrets of a business subject to KSA 754319B4 with Amy Lang, Justin Farrell, and Tim Bond in attendance. And Jesse Pounds also in attendance, and to reconvene in the city commission chamber at, oh my gosh, my math, that's 6:35 p.m.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to move into executive session. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. We're in executive session.
You guys can leave now.
Okay, no action was taken.
I would make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign a development agreement with Cloud County Commissioners and Sunflower Electric Group.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. We have time for some explanation of motion?
Sure. So this development agreement will allow Sunflower Electric Power Corporation to be our first anchor tenant at the Concordia Industrial Park on the east side of town. So that's a very exciting project for the community. It also commits the city to designing and constructing some infrastructure in the area, so water and sanitary sewer in particular. And it commits the county upon their approval to construct a road and to do some storm sewer improvements to make not only the lots the Sunflower will build on, but also other lots in the area developable for future commercial industrial tenants.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say sign. Motion passes. Moving on to attorney-client privilege.
I move that the city commission recess into executive session for consultation with an attorney for information deemed privilege in the attorney-client relationship exception KSA 754319B2 with Amy Lang and Justin Farrell in attendance, and to reconvene in the city commission chamber at 6:47.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say sign. We're in an executive session. Thank you, Tim. Okay, no action was taken. Move on to non-elected personnel.
Move that the city commission recess into executive session to discuss employment personnel issues pursuant to the non-elected personnel matter exception KSA 754319B1 with Amy Lang and Justin Farrell in attendance, and to reconvene in the city commission chamber at 7:00 p.m.
Second. There's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say sign. We're in executive session. No action was taken. Would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. We're adjourned.